iOS 26 is out and iPhones are arriving in people's hands. There's so much to talk about, but I want to show you just how iOS is just not all about the looks. There's actually some good productivity tools, tips within it. Hey, my name is Dan, and I love making everyday technology easy. I worked at Apple for 19 years, and now I am in full-time ministry. Now, I already added an iOS 26 video, and I'll link it up above if you haven't seen that one. But today I just want to give you some additional tips of features that I have grown to love since I've been running iOS 26. I ran the beta version, and now you should have gotten the update alert earlier this week, Monday morning, as a matter of fact. But speaking to family and friends, so many of you have not yet updated. So it is going to be a visual shock to you because it's the first time in many, many years where Apple has really redesigned everything. So I just want to give you some quick hits on what I find that are very useful and how to do it. All right, so you will definitely see that my clock or my time is way different. It's much larger. So let me show you how to edit and play around with your desktop. So while my phone is still locked, I'm going to tap and hold until I can edit my desktop screen. So you'll notice that it kind of swoops back there, and I'm going to go ahead and tap on the word customize at the bottom. Now in customize, obviously I can just drag the time. We're normally used to this clock font type being about this size. You can now drag this out as far as you want. You can actually change the font. You can make it thinner. Now in this glass feel that we have throughout the entire iOS 26 at the bottom, I can make that from glass. I can change the opacity of it. I can make it just solid if I just want to pick a solid color that maybe matches my desktop photo. I can tap on the color wheel all the way at the end to then use the eyedropper if I wanted to get a specific color from within my picture, let's say. So maybe I want to get one of these dark green hues. Maybe, maybe not. But you get the idea. You can pick and choose what you want on there. I'm going to stick with the glass. And you'll notice that the glass will also give me that shimmering effect as I move my device around. Now, the other thing that I want to show you is that I can also tap where it says the date. I can change some of the date information up there if I want to maybe just show another widget. But here in the middle, right above where it says add widgets, I have two icons. I have one that has the three dots that says depth effect, and this is a new feature. If I select depth effect, it'll work better with some pictures rather than others. This image that I have here is kind of hard because the palm tree overtakes the entire image. If your picture definitely has a very clear visible horizon, and I'll show you an example, the clock will actually disappear into that dividing line, and it'll make sense now as I show you. But I'm going to go ahead and select depth effect. And as you can see there, it's kind of hiding between or behind the trees. I can add widgets, and something that it's new within iOS 26. You can always add widgets before, but now you can change where you want those widgets. Before, we only had the option to keep them up above. Now I can bring them down below, especially if I want to use depth effect to kind of hide my clock behind my image. And then this is not new in iOS 26, but just as a reminder, you can pick and choose what your default quick action buttons are in the bottom. Traditionally, we had the camera and your flashlight. You can change that to something else, especially if you have the iPhone 15, 16, or now 17 with an action button. A lot of people are programming this side button to be potentially their flashlight. You can do that and remove the one on the bottom. Maybe you listen to Apple Music or another favorite app that you have. And then you can also remove your camera, and I'll show you why in just a second. But this is definitely one of the newer looks that you can create on your desktop, which is brand new to iOS 26. Now, I want to show you two more. I want to show you this one over here. I'll show you one. Let's see. I want to show you another one. I want to show you this one that I was playing around with. Now I'm going to go ahead and long press again to go ahead and customize it. And under this customizing, option, what I'm going to do is instead of tapping on the three little dots that are there on the right hand side, I'm going to tap on that other image that looks like a kind of like a hexagon with a picture. This iOS will take any image and will try to create a spatial scene image. So as you can tell, as I move that my phone around, and it probably even looks better on camera, it definitely gives it a 3D look, especially this one from outer space. I mean, it looks like you're looking at the astronaut just floating. I love this. Now, this one I too could move my clock around. If I do move my clock around and I select depth effect, you'll notice that you won't be able to do depth effect with the spatial scene. It just doesn't quite work the same, or it doesn't quite work as well. You kind of get your pick of the litter there. You get to kind of pick one and choose one. So you'll see that I move it back there, but once I tap on done, um, it'll kind of stay, but depending on your image, you probably won't be able to see your clock anymore. You can't really make it that large, but still super, super cool depth effect on your desktop. It is just awesome to see Apple giving us even more ability to tweak our phones. This is something that many users have been asking for quite a long time, and now it's awesome to see it in iOS 26. That's tip number one. Now for tip number two. Tip number two, it's not just all about the glass look. There is some productivity that has improved here within iOS 26. So I'm gonna go ahead and unlock my phone, and I'm gonna jump into Apple Notes. Apple Notes, I've done many videos or several videos on Apple Notes. It's super productive, but I wanna show you some of the things that have indeed have changed. So I'm gonna open up this default note that I've been kind of jotting down on some of the iOS 26 features, and I'll just show you. So if I go ahead and select any of my notes here, in the past, my contextual menu would pop up there where you see copy, delete, the Apple Intelligence, add link. I would have to keep swiping in order to get the rest of my tools. Apple has made this way better, where now if I tap on that right arrow, I get my contextual menu that comes right down, and I get a complete list of all the options that I have. I can obviously use Apple Intelligence if I wanted to summarize this paragraph. I can add a link. I can add it to a playground. I can find the selection. I can look up, translate, speak, so on and so forth. Very, very cool that it's given me now the contextual menu in a very, very quick access point to be able to get it to. The other thing that has changed or has even improved, I'm going to go ahead and create a new note here, is that we now have additional tools. If you see here in my toolbar, I'll go to my pencil. Now I am on my phone. This is even way better on your iPad, but you'll notice that we get a couple of new tools within our toolkit. Number one, we get this Apple Intelligence kind of wand, where it kind of I'll select it right there next to the ruler. Now, if I would have had some text here, or maybe I wanted to insert something, I can literally just draw on my screen, and then it's going to ask me like, hey, what is it that you want to do? In this case, do I want to provide a sketch? Do I want to provide an illustration? Do I want to provide an animation? And it's going to ask me to use words to describe it, right? Maybe I'm taking a note. Maybe I'm creating a template, and maybe I want to put a scene, or I want to put fruits and vegetables for a grocery list, or I want to do, maybe I'm remodeling my lawn and I'm going to add a couple of trees. I can start asking Apple Intelligence to draw in those features. So that's new. Another cool feature here is that we have some new pens. We have a calligraphy pen. So if I long press on my calligraphy pen or read pen there, you'll notice that I'll get my thickness and I'll get my intensity. Now I cannot draw to save my life, but now as I draw here, I'll draw just a simple letter. You can start to see, especially if you are a calligraphy artist, you can now start to see that new tool set. Right next to it too, there's also a wider one, and this is more like a paintbrush. Has many, many different tools here, but I love this one. I'll go ahead and select a very thick brush. You can definitely see the just the amount of detail that comes in. Again, always great to see Apple improving these. I love the ruler. The ruler had gone away. This is definitely not new, but some people still don't know that you can. Some people ask, well, why do you have a ruler if just to measure stuff? Well, it'll tell you the degrees of angle. But once you have the ruler, if you get any pen or crayon or any of the tool sets, you can actually draw along that line. And as you can see, I drew over the ruler, but the moment I take my ruler out, I have a perfectly straight line. If I select a thinner crayon, let's say, I have a perfect line there. Doesn't matter the tool that I choose. This is one that's very hard to see, but there I have my perfectly blue line. So cool. A couple of quick tips there on how Apple Notes has gotten even better. Now, Apple Notes just doesn't end there. I'm going to jump to my watch, and I'm going to go ahead and mirror my watch on screen just so that you can see. So my mirroring has now taken an effect. Apple Notes finally has come to Apple Watch or Watch OS. So now right there, I have my Notes app. I can have the note that I have just been working on. Actually, let's go to the one underneath with iOS 26 features. And on my device, I have that note that I'm taking with me, that I have on my watch, that I have on my iPad, that I have on my Mac. Now, this is very, very cool because although your watch is probably the smallest screen that you have with you, it's the one screen that you are physically are wearing. It's always with you. It'll be with you in bed. It'll be with you in the shower, in the pool, while you're driving, at work, as if you're working on your car. And sometimes you have a very important note that you want to maybe remind yourself of something, kind of go back and read some instruction. You have it attached to you. Plus, even though right now I'm mirroring my screen, I'm limited to what I can show you, but I have several input strategies that I can use on my watch. I do have a physical keyboard, albeit super tiny. I have my sketch where I can just start typing the words by drawing the letters. Not super fast, but my favorite is just using the microphone. I can dictate a note, and it's pretty good. If I wanted to add to my notes. So iOS 26 increasing the benefits of our productivity, not only on phone, but on iPad and also on watch. That is a very long but worthy tip number 2. But let's jump into tip number 3. Tip number 3, I'm going to go back to my iPhone here, and this is a screenshot that I took. So even though it's a picture, I'm just going to take another screenshot. So you guys know how to take a screenshot. You use your volume up and your side action button or your side on off switch. I'm going to take a screenshot here. And there's a couple of things that have changed within screenshot. And it's the contextual menu. Yes, you can always reframe your shot, but if you notice there at the bottom, this is actually picking up that there is a date, even though this is just an image. Now, let me explain, because if you get a text message, if you get an email, if you are on a website and there is data, right? Date, address, phone number, iOS, macOS, iPadOS will be able to read those fields and do something with it, right? If it's a phone number, it'll enable you to call it just by tapping and holding it. If it's a calendar, you can do the same thing. You can add it to your calendar, so on and so forth. But when you are taking a screenshot of a poster that you ran into at your kid's school or at a movie theater, something that you happen to see, iOS can now read that information and determine if there's data points like that. So in this case, it's picking up that there is a date on here, September 19th. If I swipe over to the right, it also is highlighting the fact that there is a phone number. So if I wanted to call that, and there is an address there that if I tap on it, it will give me directions. So number one, within iOS 26, it can now read this information from simply taking a picture or a screenshot. Super, super helpful. So if I tap on add to calendar, it'll go ahead and create a calendar invite for me. It'll bring in all that information, again, just from a photo, and I can now create an event. The other cool thing is that I can always ask Apple Intelligence if I'm taking a picture of a flower, of a fruit tree, of an object, and I don't know what it is, I can use Apple Intelligence and it'll determine or try to determine what that is. And if it can't figure it out, that's where it'll prompt you if you want to use a service as like ChatGPT. It's also there. And then my favorite that people still don't know. And again, I know iOS 26 just came out. I can take a picture of something and just with my finger, I can go ahead and just circle that. I can just kind of draw that. And if you look at the bottom, it says swipe up to see results. If I just simply swipe up, it's going to go onto the internet and it's going to try to find that exact same image. And in this case, it actually found it, right? It found here several different sites just on Google. It has a few on Etsy. It'll go over on Etsy and it'll even go out to Temu. I think that's how you say it, right? And it'll try to find you something of that nature. Pretty cool. Again, just from taking a simple photo or taking a screenshot. I showed you by me taking a screenshot, but this will work identically if you're just taking a picture of something. That is a very cool tip number 3. Now, tip number 4, let's talk about messages. Now, messages has a lot of improvements. And number 1, you can now, I know it's 2025, you can change backgrounds on your message chats. These features are primarily if you're within an iMessage platform. And I know that this is a hot topic, it's debatable. You have other applications like WhatsApp, craziness, right? But you can. It's good to see that you can now do some of those things that you have grown to love on other platforms over within iMessage. You can change backgrounds, meaning your chat window with the person or the group of people that you're chatting with. You can have custom pictures in the background. You can create polls, things of that nature. I don't want to highlight those. Those are kind of redundant and kind of to each their own, right? That's how you want to preference your messages. But there are things that people are not, I don't think, are talking about, which are the foundation of iMessage. So I'm going to go here to settings. So open up settings, and the fastest way, I just like just typing what I'm going to look for. So I'm going to type messages, and I'm going to type messages there now. Now, there's a couple things that I want to show you here. So number 1, in messages, yes, you can filter in your chat by unread messages. You can filter, you can change the background, you can create polls. Those are front facing within the actual iMessage application. But here there are some powerful tools that you can. So if you go to settings and then if you go to notifications, you can, number 1, allow notifications. Many people don't know that you can unallow notifications. Maybe you're the type of person that you're getting bombarded with messages. You can turn the notification off and then they'll still come in. They just won't alert you. And then you can kind of just go to them when you're ready to read your messages. You can actually schedule your delivery of notifications. So there in the second window on your screen, you can see that you can have immediate delivery, or you can schedule delivery. Like, hey, I want to be notified of all of my messages within this time window. Maybe, for work, for morning. Again, you can pick and choose. Critical alerts and time sensitive notifications, you can turn those on or off. And then, and I'll get a little bit into what those mean, but you've seen the Amber alerts or the regional alerts. Maybe it's bad weather or something like that, a catastrophe. Those are good to have. You can change the way that your alert looks. You have the lock screen, the notification, and the banner. This by no means is new to iOS 26, but I just wanted to fly through here because many people don't even know you can change this. And there it'll tell you a banner is temporary, right? It'll kind of come up from your window, tell you have a text message, and it'll go away. Something in notification will be down in the center, or something permanent on your lock screen. But I want to show you down below, because this is actually super important. You can have custom notifications. Now, in custom notifications, you can have emergency contact alerts. Now, this is big because here it says emergency SOS alerts include car crash detection, fall detection, and SOS notifications from people that you have listed as your emergency contact. This is a great unused feature that you can use. You can use this for your children. You can use this for your family, your spouse. If you have elderly parents and maybe they have an Apple Watch, all of our devices, whether it's Apple Watch, whether it's your phone, has built-in features for crash detections and fall. and SOS. And those are typically measured by the gyroscopes that are found in all of our devices. If your phone feels like a very abrupt, crash that has a couple of, a strong G force within it, it will alert you like, hey, I've detected a crash or a fall. Are you okay? If there's no response, it knows to start dialing, 911 for help. It will alert the emergency contacts, and I'll show you how to do that if you have set it up. Same thing with Apple Watch. I've actually done this for my mom. My mom, she is super strong and able, and she is an avid user of an Apple Watch. But if she happens to slip and fall, and maybe her phone is not next to her, right? I want to be notified. So by allowing emergency contact alerts, it's telling my device, hey, alert me and alert my emergency contact if there is an emergency happening. Now, the way that you do that, I'll show you next. So let me show you how to add your emergency contact. So I'm going to go ahead and just open up my address book. And I want here to just a default contact. And I went ahead and for this demo purposes, just selected spouse, right? I just created a dummy spouse contact here. You'll notice here that says add to emergency contact. Now, when you tap on emergency contact, it's going to bring up your emergency contact list. And if you have more than one person, it's going to bring up who they are and what their relation to you is. And it will even show you, in case of an emergency, a message will be sent to these people with your current location and a phone number. Like, just it wants to be super transparent about that. For privacy, I am not going to show you on screen because I have, obviously my spouse's information. I have family members' information that's there, and I just don't want to, put that out for everybody to see. But you can definitely pause the video now and try it on your device. And also under your emergency or your medical ID, I should say, you can put there if you have any type of allergies, if you are a specific blood type, if you are an organ donor. You can put as much information that you want about yourself there, and first responders have been trained that if they come on scene of a car accident, if they do happen to find an iPhone, they know how to get access to that information. Now, this information is not protected by your passcode because, again, it is emergency information. So you do want to be cautious of the information that you do put there. But it is available, especially when time is of the essence. So again, tip number 4, I think is super powerful. There's a lot of features within messages, and this is one that I definitely want to highlight. I hope you learned something from that one. Let me show you tip number 5. So for tip number 5, my last tip of this video, I want to talk about the phone. So open up your system settings again, and then you're going to tap on the search window, which by the way has been moved to the bottom. You're just going to put the word phone there, and then it'll bring up your phone settings. And I want to highlight this feature again because it has been improved within iOS 26 and it's pretty powerful. So all the way at the bottom, you have there hold assist detection. This is awesome when you are making a phone call and you've been placed on hold for, let's say, a customer service or some type of a business, and not everybody has that feature that says, hey, if you would not like to lose your place in line, press 1 and we will call you back. I love that feature, right? Because you can just put the phone down and they'll call you when they're ready. If you are just simply on hold and iOS or your phone can detect that it's playing music, it'll prompt you like, hey, I've detected that you've been placed on hold. Would you like me to assist you with this? And it says automatically detect when you are placed on hold so you can step away, and iPhone will then notify you when it's time to pick up. If a live person finally picks up, your phone will start to ring so that you can quickly pick up and resume that conversation or what you had to do. So hold assist detection, but you do have to turn that feature on. The other one, live voicemail, again, not so brand new, but when someone is leaving you a voicemail, if you have this feature on, maybe you don't recognize the number. As they start to leave you the voicemail, think of the old school answering machines that we had back in the day. I mean, I didn't have one because I was just born 5 years ago. But as they start leaving you a voicemail, you will start to see that voicemail being translated, right? Or kind of giving you live text of what they're saying. And if it's somebody you do recognize, you're going to pick up your phone and swipe and pick up the call. And then screening for unknown callers. This is a feature that honestly Android users have had, and they've let iPhone users know that they've had that feature for a long time, and we are jealous. But it's awesome to see that Apple is, bringing it in for us as well. You can screen your calls and never. You can ask a reason for calling, or you can just silence. So if someone is calling you and you have no idea who they are, they'll be prompted by saying, "Hey, thank you for calling. Please state your name and the reason for your call." "Hey, this is Bob Johnson. I'm calling Dan because I want to gift him a brand new car." And then I'll be notified, "Hey, Bob Johnson wants to give you a brand new car." Then I can pick up, or I can say no, or I can just simply silence if it's an unknown. If you are just getting bombarded by spam or by marketing calls, you've been approved for $1 million loan, refinance your house, all that stuff, you can just hit silence, and then those calls will just go off into the wayside. It says calls from unsaved numbers will be silenced, sent to voicemail, and displayed on your recent list. Calling and data rates may always apply, right? It won't bother you as much. And you can also filter unknown callers, your missed calls. Like, you can just make that stuff go away and save it off for a rainy day. Friends, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. As always, I want to hear your feedback, good, bad, the ugly. Just be gentle on me. I'm getting better. But if you learned something, then give me a thumbs up. If you learned something that you had not known from iOS, then follow. So join the community. What I love about our community here is that it's growing. People are being very honest and open, and people are sharing. Some of these videos are getting a lot of traction because people are just chatting away in the chat below, and some people are helping each other out. They're like, "Hey, yeah, you missed this feature, did you know you could do that?" I love this community, so please join, subscribe, follow along. It really means the world, and it's what drives me to stand in front of a camera and help make everyday technology easy. If you have not checked out my other video on iOS 26, I'm going to put it here. If you're thinking about getting an iPhone, I also made a quick recap on that. I am receiving the iPhone 17 hopefully today. I may do a quick unboxing if you're into that, but I'm definitely going to review the device and tell you what I personally think. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Catch you on the next one. Peace.